Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery. Anthony here, and in this video I will be giving you my review of the Hoyt Xceed ILF riser. This is their top of the line ILF riser that you can use for both Olympic recurve, as I have it set up here, and bare bow. Of course, I'm going to be covering the Olympic recurve portion of this, since I do not shoot a lot of bare bow, and thus I'm not the most qualified for discussing my review of it in that angle. Alright, so we're going to start off this review with the look and the design of this bow. It's important, and there's some important elements to this riser that made it a nice improvement over the Hoyt Epic and just previous risers. For me personally, I really like how this riser looks. Not only does it look really good, it actually feels really solid. And it feeling really solid is important because I personally didn't feel that the older Hoyt Epic was as solid as its previous counterpart, like the GMX. And I feel like the Xceed is much closer, or basically an upgraded version of the super popular Hoyt GMX. Not only is like the shape and design and how steady it is important, but they even did a great job on the finish. This anodizing job on here has held up really well, much better than any of the Hoyt bows I've had in the past, and I really like that because, well, you got to protect your equipment, and if the company making them isn't going to do that, then there's only so much you can do on your end, since you're not the one manufacturing them. On some design aspects, I really like how this is all flush now. On some of the older Hoyts, you had the limb alignment adjustments sticking out from the bow, which I understand was probably like a transition period from the old way, like on the GMX they were doing limb alignment, to how they do limb alignment now. But it was pretty ugly, and it was just in the way. When I had my Hoyt Epic, I just found that I was smacking it into everything. These two things that were sticking out, I just banged into everything. That is not the case for this bow, and that makes me really happy. Another thing, looking at this bow, and I mentioned design a little bit earlier, but I really like how the cutouts in this are both functional for reducing weight, letting the wind pass through easily, but at the same point in time, they have a design element to them. They really flow with how the riser itself flows, and it's nice to see the combination of design, structurally, and just making a strong riser be paired up with making it look beautiful and attractive all at the same time. That's something that you don't always get from risers, just in general, from not just from Hoyt but from other manufacturers. So I think they really did an excellent job on this ILF riser. And other than that, I think it just pairs nicely with the Velos limbs, the Grand Prix Velos limbs from Hoyt. Seems to all fit up really well, and well, it does its thing. So now we're going to actually move into, well, shooting the bow. The most important part. Looks can get you points with the crowd, but the bow is going to help you get points downrange in the target. So how does this bow shoot? This bow shoots like an ILF, but it shoots like a high-class ILF. I really got a ton of good vibes from shooting this bow. It really reminds me of the GMX, and that riser was probably one of the most popular risers, at least in recent archery history. So this really reminded me of that, but just improved. They got the limb tension systems to be able to change the tension of the string and how the limb sits in the pocket. They got the new advanced limb bolts. You got your Veritune plate now, like they had on the Formula bows. They're on these. This combination of things, and then on top of it, shooting so much like the GMX, I feel like the Xceed is the GMX 2.0. It took us a long time to get there. We had some interesting bows in between, in my opinion, and I think this is probably the best ILF Hoyt has made, well, at least in my time shooting archery. With that though, the bow itself, when you draw it back and you shoot, when you release, the limbs are nice and snappy. You get that ILF snap. Not only does it send the arrow down there well, but I personally like how this bow comes out of my hand a little bit cleaner than the formula bows do, which again is probably me, but because of how snappy it is, I think it helps in kind of launching that bow out of your hand. It's just smoother, cleaner execution of the shot. Now, it may not be as smooth as a formula because the formula XI is known for its smoothness, but it makes up for it in that responsiveness. And of course, there's a bow out there for everyone. Now, you can adjust the feel of this bow to take a little bit of the snappiness out and kind of smooth it out a little bit more all the way through full draw. You can go and put this bow into the hybrid or the smooth setting with the adjustments up here that let you adjust the string tension. I personally run mine on the performance setting. I think it works best for me. I like the responsiveness of the bow and just how it feels when I shoot it, and it's doing its thing as the arrow's flying down to the target. Now, a really interesting point I want to make, and I remember a couple years ago when I first saw these new grips come out from Hoyt, I was really up in the air about them. I was like, this kind of looks a little cheesy. Like, I don't know, they're plastic with like this, I don't know, like kind of like a velvety coating in a way. It's like a slick, kind of like a slick rubber coating. And I was like, oh, this isn't gonna hold up. This is like, they're just kind of like skirting around, actually doing a decent job. The only advantage was that it seemed to fit a lot better than the old wooden grips that they put on bows. Well, I will admit, I was wrong. This is probably the best designed Hoyt grip that just comes stock with your bow, probably ever again in my time of shooting. Not only does the finish not wear off even after tens of thousands of arrows shot throughout the season. I'm talking we're shooting in the summer where we're sweating because it's hot out. In some of these places we're shooting in the 100+ degree weather. It's sitting out in the sun. It gets to play with the rain, and then you're taking it indoors or in and out, and the bow's getting cold and hot because now we're shooting inside, and it's going from cold trunks to warm buildings, and the finish held up great. My hand sits on there fantastic. I even found myself not using grip tape as well, not really at all, not as much, not at all, just because my hand just seemed to fit in place so well and stay there. I was actually surprised because I honestly thought that this grip was going to be kind of lousy, and Hoyt proved me otherwise. For me, just from using this bow, I realized that they actually put in time and effort to make this, probably the best grip they've ever made. And it even fits well because some of the old Hoyt grips, they used to actually rattle back and forth, and you would have to shim them with like pieces of paper and stuff in order to get them from moving. And some of the old grips that were made out of wood, if you tightened them too much, they used to split right down the back of the grip. This is not the case with these. Giant improvement on their part, and really it impressed me. Now, before I wrap up this video, a little take on how I was shooting this bow. This, of course, is a 25-inch riser. We're shooting long limbs. The limbs are actually the Hoyt Velos limbs, the Grand Prix, because ILF. And we got our limb bolts about halfway in. We're pulling about 46 pounds at full draw at my fingertips on 42-pound limbs. I make my own strings for this bow, and everything else is pretty interchangeable after that. I do use the normal, or I guess the medium height Veritune plate. I don't go for the low one, I don't go for the high one. I just stick with the medium one. That seems to work great. Other than that, I think it's pretty standard. You're going to have some changes here and there based on your stabilizer setup and how you put weights on it, but that one's going to be completely up to you, and it really has nothing to do with the Hoyt Xceed itself at that point, because it's not their products. So with that, I would definitely recommend this riser to my fellow archers. If you want a snappy, responsive bow that uses ILF limbs, this is the bow for you. It's, in my opinion, it is the best one Hoyt has made. And if you've watched my channel over the years, when there's criticism, I feel like I do a pretty good job of putting out my opinion and my criticism about things. And for this, I think Hoyt has really earned their spot of making a solid riser. This is, in my opinion, the best ILF, currently available. Of course, I can't shoot them all, but, and then again too, it is my opinion. They do not pay me or sponsor me for any of this stuff. Probably should have did that in the beginning of the video. Might have to add it in. Other than that, though, I'll have links to their website and stuff so that you can get pricing and see what they have to say about their own bow. Now, if you do want a bow that's smoother, like if you're into the smooth, and you don't want as much snappiness, I personally would recommend testing out or picking up the Hoyt Formula Xi. That is their flagship formula riser, which is going to give you the formula limbs. That riser is definitely focused on more the smoothness, but you can still play with the adjustments that adjust the limb tension, and you can switch it again from performance to a hybrid to a smooth to try to get a little bit more snappiness out of the bow if you want, or bring on even more smooth to the bow. Of course, my review of the Formula Xi will be in another video, but I wanted to give you an idea on other bows. If you like the idea of the Hoyt Xceed, but you don't like the snappiness in the bow, that is an option for the smooth. Alright, so there you have it. That is my review on the Hoyt Xceed. I've had a great time shooting this. I've put in, 20 or 30 plus thousand arrows through this bow, through this riser and set of limbs. It's worked great for me. Check out my links below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I appreciate each and every one of you for checking out this video, and I just love sharing my archery experiences with you guys. With that, have a fantastic day, and as always, happy shooting.